And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Well, what can I say? Test cricket. Welcome. Welcome to the Guerilla Roundup for day 5 of the first Ashes Test. And I got to tell you, I am exhausted and excited and exhilarated and relieved. And forget your T20, forget your ODIs. Test cricket, that's the thing for me. I'm really happy to have with me somebody who also experienced the ups and downs of the day, in Tony Bishop. Welcome, Tony.
Hello, Messrs. Well, yeah, wow, what a test match.
Yeah,
That's the first thing to say, isn't it? What a test match. Then we can discuss
absolutely.
who should have won.
Well, I mean, yeah. In a way, it's a sort of who cares thing, isn't it? Because it was so good. Um, so, do you want to just summarize what happened today? Not
Well,
much
I think
happened.
so.
Not
Yeah.
much happened really, so it should be
Well,
quick.
not much happened. Well, Australia started on 107 for 3. English pessimists were definitely thinking, oh, that's probably Australia's game. And just about every Australian I spoke to was telling me it was going to be England's game. England took wickets. They took key wickets as well. Fantastic spells from Broad and from Ollie Robinson. Even Moeen Ali got one ball to really rip and turn, and consequently they'd lost a number of key wickets. Had Australia. Head was caught by Joe Root. Robinson Green was bowled by Robinson. Khawaja was magnificent all the way through, but in the end, who else would do make the difference but Ben Stokes? Carey was unbelievably caught and bowled third time lucky by Root, having dropped 2 ridiculously hard caught and bowled catches. The next ridiculously hard one, he hung on to. Some catches did go down. Certainly one edge went down, was not taken by Bairstow. But overall, Australia showed extraordinary nerve, particularly Pat Cummins. 44 off 73. They needed about 70 odd, I think, when he came in. He and Lyon got the job done, and I wasn't fully sure about some of England's approach as the denouement got closer. I think some of their thinking perhaps got a tad muddled. We can dive into that, but what I can absolutely say, it was a cracking test match. It sets the series up magnificently. England will be disappointed. They need to put it behind them. Australia will be thrilled, but they know there's 4 more to play. And we simply cannot wait.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Tony. So to summarise, Australia ended at
You're going to summarise
282,
my summary.
282 for 8, winning by 2 wickets.
They did.
And Cummins
They
ended
did.
up
They
on
did.
44 and Lyon on 16. They put on 55 for the 9th wicket, which is basically what won the game. Now, from my perspective, as you say, many of us Australians were not all that optimistic. The game swung repeatedly during the day. And when Green came to the wicket and the score was 143 for 5, and Australia still needing almost 140 to win. I thought, well, this is about it. But Green and Khawaja managed to put on, what did they put on? 49, which put Australia to 192 and within 90 of a win. And yet, every time it looked like Australia might be getting on top, then something happened. Green was bowled by Robinson, and the wickets were very much spread around. Everybody except Anderson got wickets. Stuart Broad had 3, Robinson 2, Moeen Ali had 1, Root had 1, and Stokes had 1. So it's not as if there was some sort of genius attack bowler who was going to win it. There was no sort of super spell from Broad this time. It was just sheer hard work by the English bowlers on that really, really unresponsive pitch. The pitch played pretty much as it had all match, kept a little bit low on occasion, but that's about as much as you can say of it. But
I take all of that. You're bang on, Messers. I mean, there was a couple of moments when England really felt, we felt, as the English fans will have felt, that the momentum had shifted. Khawaja going, that was when the score I think was on 209. Carey going, it was 227 for 8.
Yeah.
And then you were down to Cummins and Lyon.
Yeah.
And that was, we all know Pat Cummins has got a pretty cool head on his shoulders. You don't get to be Australian captain without, having that. Look at his win record. It stands up to any kind of scrutiny. But most English people thought then that was job done.
Yeah.
Sadly, from an English perspective, I do question some of the field placings, as I said at the beginning. It just seemed, they were trying to work that short ball. For too long, Australia were able to take their time. They were able to nudge ones and twos. And then there was one pivotal over. Maybe it was one over too far from Joe Root, because remember, he'd taken that phenomenal caught and bowl. He got that key wicket of Carey. But Pat Cummins said, right, now is about the time. It was like flicking a switch. 12 off 2 balls, and all of a sudden, the momentum shifted. You could see it in body language. Belief surged through the Australian pair and probably the dressing room and every Australian fan there. And just a little bit of hope seemed to drain from England. And that's, if you want to nut down a pivotal moment of the day, it would be, well, there'd probably be 2, because it was those 2 consecutive sixes when quite literally it was like a goal either side of half time in football. Whenever you think everything's going well and then bang, bang, suddenly it isn't. After that, I'm struggling not to say I'm a little bit disappointed, because it was such a phenomenal test match. It did go to the wire on the final day. Yes, the rain this morning helped that along a bit, but the fact is there were just there were chances that weren't taken, and I just felt England's bowling strategy left something to be desired. Jimmy Anderson had said he's not feeling he's got his rhythm. And just not having a second spinner. The ball was turning.
Well, almost. I mean, for the second innings, barely having a first spinner, because Ali's finger was so damaged that it was.
And he came on at one point, and although he did get one to rip and turn, and that ball that got who was it? Travis Head, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was a terrific ball, but nonetheless. After that, he was too easy to hit. He wasn't comfortable. Root always does a good job. Root always does a good job as a second spinner. He's not a frontline spinner. Okay, he once got 5 for 8, but that was on, a viper's nest dust bowl. And the Edgbaston was not that. So I think England, I don't even think you could say what happened thereafter was about Baz ball or not. It just didn't quite seem to. There was a point at which they could have attacked, and they seemed to go on that we're going to bounce them out, whatever strategy. It didn't work. We could be sitting here. I could be sitting here right now. It could have worked, and we could have been going, what a fantastic victory and what a genius Ben Stokes is. For what it's worth, I think he and McCullum still are geniuses, and they still are right for the game. We just lost by 2 wickets in an unbelievably tight and fantastic match. But it'd be very nice to win the next one.
Well, there's no doubt that on the field, Stokes is an inspiration, and he comes up with a whole lot of stuff. Not all of it works, but some of it clearly does. I mean, the dismissal of Khawaja in the first innings was a classic case of just playing with someone's head and getting him.
Well, it's doing what the opposition doesn't expect.
The problem with Stokes, particularly when Moen really wasn't fit enough to bowl properly in the second over is Stokes wasn't either. I mean, he bowled 7 overs in each innings, and he was obviously in considerable pain. He did take a
Yeah.
vital wicket in each innings, but it really does hamper England when they don't have that depth in a bowling attack like that, it seems to me.
Well, great series wins often have a great all-rounder
Yeah,
that plays as an all-rounder.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
To be fair on Ben Stokes, he did bowl 7 overs. Was clearly playing through a pain barrier, and he only went for 9 runs and got a crucial wicket.
yeah.
The first innings, not so much. What did he do in the first? 7 overs again,
Yeah,
went for 33. So in the but as the bear, you can probably hear in the background, who is off and heading for home.
and he got Steve Smith
Uh,
out.
uh, which is what the bear was just saying
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
background, which you won't have heard. But yeah, he did. But the 7 in the first innings went for 33. The 7 in the second innings went for 9. What struck me about Australia was just how well they did time it and play the situation
I
and the
thought they, yeah.
circumstances.
There was a time when Cummings had just come in, when
Mm.
people were genuinely talking about them playing through for a draw. Uh, and I said, no,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen because they needed 3.5 and over still, and they needed what 60 something to win, or 70 something when Cummings came in, and they'd just been so flat. That's what we haven't talked about actually. Is Usman Khawaja. Now he did
Oh,
bat brilliantly, but
magnificent.
he made 65 of 197 deliveries. All
Mm.
up in this test match, he has faced 725 deliveries, I think it is, which is quite extraordinary when you think about it. Uh, for one person to face basically, what's that, 120 overs.
Well, first Australian since Kim Hughes. Am I right in saying only the second ever? I can't believe the Don's never done it.
So
But to bat all 5 days of a test match.
that's correct. Yeah,
Mm.
675 deliveries all up. That is extraordinary. And there's no doubt that Australia would have had no chance of winning, given that both Smith and Labuschagne failed in both innings. But there was a period today when it looked like the fact that he was scoring at a strike rate of about 25 today might actually leave Australia in a position where they wouldn't get there because not enough runs were being scored. And at the end
There
of the
was,
day,
yeah,
the
there
credit
was
goes
for a
really to
while.
Pat Cummins for just taking it on in a really sensible but aggressive way um,
Yeah.
towards the end.
But you've also got a question. I know Hendo kept popping his head round the door when he wasn't on ball by ball, saying, "Don't take the new ball."
Yep.
We're going,
Yep.
well, it's not actually our decision, Hendo, mate. But 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 we understood his point. He clearly wanted that communicated to the many people who were listening to us today, which was phenomenal. We had a fantastic audience today, which was great. Um, but I kind of saw his point, but at the same time, I was thinking attack, attack, attack.
Yes.
If you got your foot on someone's throat, don't let it off. Attack, attack, attack.
Yeah.
And I just don't think England didn't quite do that in the way that they
Yeah.
might normally have done. They seem to almost fall between two stools in doing that.
It was very strange,
Because when you
wasn't
get
it?
down to that score, you kind of do a bit, don't you?
Yeah.
You've got to defend to not concede runs, but you still want to. I would have just kept attacking and attacking, and eventually trusting to something happening that would get the wickets. And
Yeah.
and they didn't quite do that. That's the only
Yeah.
disappointment I have. That and the wicket keeping question and
Yeah.
the
Well,
runs that went down. Again, if you look at the drop catches and you look at the infamous no ball that took the wicket, that then wasn't, um, those probably lost the test match more than anything that happened in the last 2 hours.
yeah. I think
If
it's
when push comes to shove,
fair to say that folks behind the stumps, that Bairstow behind the stumps was he had a really dreadful match. He probably never had one as bad
yeah.
as that again, but it's enough surely to make the England selectors decide that they really can't afford to have that happen again.
Well,
Somebody
I kind
suggested
of
that
I go along
Pope
with that.
should take the gloves. I don't know what Pope's like as a keeper, but he couldn't have done much worse than Bairstow did. But I'd love to see folks in the team anyhow. I think he's done everything to earn it.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to say I'm going to say one thing about the declaration. Because you will have discussed it endlessly on all the other
Yep.
wrap-ups,
Yep.
the
I
close of
haven't
play
minced
roundup.
my words about my views. Put it like that.
No, well, I might give you a counter view. If England had taken the chances they should have taken, and if England had had a serviceable spinner whose finger didn't fall apart, you'd have still been. We'd have probably looking back with you going, oh, well, maybe it wasn't such a bad thing. And you can't legislate for some of those things. For those of you can't legislate for the catches that went down. Okay, don't count the Stokes one, but you can count about 4 or 5
Yeah.
chances behind the stumps that were dropped. And you've got a lot. You're bowling on the last wicket. You need a spinner that can give you some control and get the ball to turn from time to time.
Yep.
You need more overs out of him than what did Moen bowl? 14 overs for 57.
Yeah.
By far the most expensive bowler. And he bowled one ball that I would say was a really great ball, and it was a really
Yep.
great ball.
Yep.
But you couldn't rely on him. So at the time Ben Stokes made the declaration, he couldn't foresee that catalogue of things not going right. I'm not even going to blame that really difficult period for losing Crawley and Duckett when they should have gone off. You know, it was a biblical scene of the darkest clouds. I don't think that's the reason either. I think they lost it in the field, and it gave Australia the chance to be as cool as they were. But you had to. But the door had been opened, and well done for them. They pushed it open, barged through.
Yeah, and that wicket from a no ball too, which.
Oh, that's I mentioned that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
Still, we've had
I think,
fun.
yeah, and it's been a
We've been
fantastic
drinking.
game. What have you been drinking?
Do you know what? I thought you'd never actually get around to asking me. Today, we have mostly been drinking, and I'm trying to see if I can get this in front of the camera. Don't think I can. We've been drinking close of play Cabernet Sauvignon. It is the Langhorne Creek close of play from the Ponting Wines range. It is a magnificent quaff, I can tell you. We've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's the 2021, getting hints of red berries, mint, clove. Great. It is genuinely tasty. And the whole Ponting range, courtesy of some generosity and our friends at Two Island Wines as well, means that for all of this series, we partnered up with Ricky and we partnered up with his wine company. He is a genuine wine fan. He's a genuine wine enthusiast. Ben Riggs he partnered with, and his range stands up to some any wine expert scrutiny. And I know this for a fact because I've had a wine expert taste them all. So we're not just telling lies. We're not just making it up. Let me tell you,
assumed
it's
you
gone
were
through
a wine
the
expert
toughest.
already.
Well, I'm someone who enjoys my wine, but for sure. But I know someone who does it for a living, and he's highly enthusiastic about Ricky's range, and we're very excited to have been able to create the offer for our listeners, which of course I'm sure you've been communicating on every one of your roundups.
Indeed,
But in case you haven't, just in case you haven't, you can go to our website, guerillacricket.com. All the information is there. You just click through to wait and buy. But it's pontingwines.com.au/guerillacricket, and the magic code, don't tell anyone else, is GC Ashes 2023. You get a 15% discount.
Tell everybody. The more the better.
Tell them all.
And the link is actually below this video. You can see it there.
Oh, well, there you go. Go. And we're even more exciting. Hendo and I are already buzzing. We'd be buzzing a little bit more had England won. But the man himself, we're going to be talking to the man himself this week.
Mr. Ponting.
We're going to be Mr. Ponting. We are going to be talking to Mr. Ponting. We are going to be, we are going to be tasting his wine and talking about his wine, but we've got plenty of cricket to talk about as well. So I think we're doing that on Thursday. So that should be out and available and ready for everyone to enjoy on Friday. We cannot wait.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm excited about that. I'm really looking forward to hearing that. Thank you for that, Tony. Now, that just leaves us with the Guerilla of the day and the Tweeter of the day. And these two are very closely linked because
all right.
The Tweeter of the day is today Jay Grover, who keeps us entertained, sometimes at huge length.
Endless.
very frequently, and has a great sense of humor himself when we give him shit too. So I really enjoy Jay's presence.
Oh, am I
Sometimes,
allowed to guess who the gorilla of the day is? I might get it wrong, but I
well,
think I know who it is.
guess.
Am I allowed to guess?
Yes, go and guess.
I'd be giving it to Russ
You'll be
because
right.
I think he's just been so cool.
Yeah,
He's the
well,
most laid back. If he laid back any further, he would genuinely be lying down
that's exactly
because
right.
he's
Because
just amazing. We love him.
this is what Jay tweeted. He said, I think Russ's default setting is mute. And then he said, I hasten to add, this is not a criticism of Russ. He makes a blissful change from you gobshites. And he was on with Hendo and me at the time. So, of course, he was right. But yeah, Russell is one of those rare people on Guerilla Cricket who only says something when he's got something to say, which is, yeah, doesn't stop me talking when I've got nothing to say. But
Wha-
I think he adds a great deal of wisdom and knowledge to our setting. So he's definitely
We just
picked to
it
be the
doesn't seem
gorilla
like he
of the
seems
day.
like the sort of chap that nothing would phase. He'd be
Yeah,
going,
yeah.
Russell, the whole studio's burning down. Oh well, maybe we better find some water. I mean, it would be, just, I don't think anything would phase him. He just seems Mr. Cool. So yeah,
Ah,
we love his company. It's been good fun,
indeed it
and will
has.
go on being good fun. I'm glad to say.
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of good fun with you on this. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to support us, and we would love you to do so, because there are a lot of expenses in keeping this going. The place to go is patreon.com/Guerilla Cricket, and you can come a Patreon from as little as $2 a month through to there's a $10 level where your name will be in lights every time we're on air. Um, and if you like this, please click the like button below, share it, and we love your comments either here or on the Twitter stream at Guerilla Cricket. And we just love having your involvement. So thanks for that. We will be back as Guerilla Cricket on Thursday for the women's Ashes from Trent Bridge at 10 to 11, I think is the same time.
Going to be an adventure, that one.
Yeah, the Roundup will be back for the men's Ashes next. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? The second
It
test.
starts on the Wednesday, the
Wednesday.
28th or 20. Is it the 28th or 29th, Hendo? 28th. It's Wednesday, the 28th.
And we look forward to your company then. And thank you so much for being with us here. Good night.
Good night.
And now it's time for Gorilla Around.